next, we have Edwin Diender, Chief Innovation Officer, Global Energy Business Unit, Enterprise Business Group, Huawei. Edwin is considered a blue ocean strategist for Huawei Enterprise and is a frequent speaker at events around the world. In 2020, he initiated the hierarchy of needs for connected cities and industries. He is known as the go-to person for innovation, digital twins, business and growth, with a focus on smart city, safe city economics, digital governance and cloud, the future work, and big data analytics. Edwin, we're delighted you're here today. You're very welcome, and you will be discussing energy transition as the next wave of innovation, for digital transformation.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for having me. I've thought a lot about how to engage and how to proceed, and I think your last line really hits the nail on the head, so to speak. Energy transition, I truly believe, is the next wave of innovation for digital transformation, and a digital journey is what we're on. The pun here is intended. What's next? I'd like to talk a little bit about what digital transformation entails, how that relates to energy transition, and where it taps into carbon neutrality. The next slide, if you please. Because what is driving energy transition and carbon neutrality? I think the best way to do that is to agree with each other that there are several trends that are going on globally that are doing that, actually. So what drives energy transition and carbon neutrality? The next slide, please. Is, of course, the search and the need for new energy sources. And not only new energy sources, but also a way to be more carbon neutral in the production of how currently energy is being produced. Another global trend sits with demand that has high peaks. There is a huge drive to purchase and to bring to market and on our infrastructures electronic vehicles. If everyone has a 9-to-5 job or a 9-to-6 job or whatever, if the majority of the drivers of those cars are reaching their homes more or less at the same time and plugging in their cars to charge them at the same time, the current power grid is not even able to cope with that. So one of the things in digital transformation that helps deal with that is to understand how and where is the load being demanded, where are the peaks, and just like in computing networks, just like in data center services and data-driven infrastructures, where load balancing and peak balancing are quite common principles, that power in the world of digital can be applied to the world of electricity, for example. Another one sits with electrification. There is more and more digitization and digitalization, but also electrification going on. There is more power needed. There is more electricity required. And last but not least, of course, one of the global trends, one of the largest global trends right now, also relating to energy transition and carbon neutrality, is the digital journey, the digitalization of services, the digital industrialization, using digital in a digital twin kind of format, and then see what goes on within the environment that the digital twin is part of, and how can we extrapolate that, how we can learn from that. So digitalization, electrification, peak demand and new energy sources, and many, many others are global trends that drive this journey. The next slide, please. There are specific drivers that sit behind these trends. We've touched upon them. The previous speaker, Nikita, also did it. The main drivers behind these trends can be grouped, if you like. The first one, of course, sits with carbon neutrality and eventually the transformation to a zero carbon industry, regardless who or what that industry is or where that industry sits. A net zero transformation goes hand in hand with energy transition. Energy transition in different shapes and forms and different sizes as well. And all of them are part of the digital journey, which is what digital transformation is about. The zero carbon transformation and energy transition in relation to digital transformation are the main drivers behind the trends as we go forward. The next slide, please. As we've seen so many times, and as we've also seen in Glasgow the other day, is that specifically when it comes to politics, of course, or politicians maybe even, is that many walk the walk, but not many, many talk the talk, but not many walk the walk. There's a lot of conversation going on. There's a lot of discussion going on. It's all needed. But what is also needed is action. And we strongly believe in the organization that I represent, that the only way forward, the fastest way forward, but also the most convenient way forward, is to apply action from a digital point of view. If we continue to embark on extrapolating and putting in place everything physical that already relates to everything physical as we have it, and there is no element of digital, then number one, there is no control point. But number two, there is no accelerator. I said it before, the ability of creating a digital twin of physical operations, physical business operations, for example, and looking at and looking with such a digital twin as to terms of where are policies and regulations better optimized? How can they be optimized? How can they be put in place? How can we allow digital technology to help us do better what we already do best? Achieving carbon neutrality ahead of schedule is only possible if we embark on a digital journey in parallel to and in conjunction with our physical way forward. These are two hands of the same body, two gears of the same engine, if you like. Digital technologies are an enabler and truly are able to allow carbon neutrality and the achievement of carbon neutrality ahead of schedule because of digital. Digital can calculate faster, can compute more algorithms at the same time, can create a stronger and a better and a more holistic view of what goes on anywhere and everywhere and what to do about it and how to optimize it. In other words, how to create in a faster way a greener, a safer, but also a more sustainable environment. The next slide, please. If we deal with all these global trends and influences, then the question, of course, comes to the plate that says what to do and what to do first, but also how do we do that? So how is Huawei doing that? The next slide, please. In our view, the road to carbon neutrality is the combination of energy transition and digital transformation. You could say that there is already going on a technological evolution, if you like, or maybe a revolution. But from an energy point of view, there is also an evolution or a revolution going on. Energy goes one way and information goes the other way. Bits are driving watts. The minuses and the pluses, which is what the watts are about, are tremendously driven by information that comes out of the zeros and the ones, the digital world. And that all taps into a sustainable, a social, economic, but a societal development. And what it does, it helps towards energy transition by means of digital transformation, by embarking on a digital journey. So transforming and creating energy and information from a separate energy revolution and a separate technological revolution by combining them and creating a hybrid version towards a societal development with social and economic benefits, to be more green, to be more safe. In other words, to achieve carbon neutrality. The tipping point of the fourth energy revolution, by the way, and technological revolution are then coming together right in the middle to achieve that carbon neutrality. Next slide, please. So what we're looking at is to grow based on value, to have the value that we have, to reutilize and optimize the value that we have, and bring that further into the next wave of innovation, a value-based growth path, centered on data, if you like, information, data analytics, towards digital transformation to optimize the efficiency and significant value add. There's many different ways of looking at this, but the core engine, if you like, or the gear that drives this all, or the engine that brings it all together, sits with data. The more data that is available, the more data that can be analyzed, the stronger this digital twin that I earlier talked about is able to get its head around where to do what and how to optimize in what way. In other words, what I said before, to allow and have digitized and digital technologies to help us do better what we already do best. To implement digital transformation is to boost a data-based productivity and to facilitate high quality energy development. We have to embark on a journey that allows us to do not only better what we do best, but also allows us to do that in the fastest and in the most sustainable way possible. The next slide, please. And for that, we've created a framework, a methodology, if you like. I'd like to call this the energy tower ring, as you see here. The numbers on the right, so the 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, if you think of that in a horizontal way, you would find yourself looking at a bell curve, if you like, which is exactly what it is. We have to have a conversation with each and everyone together. And we have to have an ongoing conversation. We have to create a mutual understanding of what a secure, green, efficient, and innovative way forward looks like. A mutual vision, if you like. And that needs to come with a couple of guarantees. For example, we have to bridge certain divides, the digital divide, if you like. We have to cultivate talents. It doesn't mean that we need new people with new skills. What it also means is that we need to apply the new skills and the skills of tomorrow to the people of today and of yesterday. Technology is often being blamed for taking jobs. As I said before, I'm a strong believer of where digital technology should allow us to do better what we already do best. If it doesn't do that, as great as this technology would be, I suggest to put it in the museum of the future. What I strongly advocate here is that we have to look at the workforce that we have, at the need of capability and resources for tomorrow, and bring everyone on board. And that comes with 3 processes. We have to plan the work and work the plan, of course. We have to plan certain things, mid and long term. We then have to build not only our vision, but the activities that needs to be done to embark on this journey and keep it going in order to operate it. 3 processes, 2 guarantees coming from 1 mutual and shared vision, driven by 2 gears of the same engine, as I said before. It has a strong technology-driven aspect, by all means. But what it also has, and at the same time, and at the same level of importance, is the business aspect of it. We have to have a strong business sense in how and where to use technology, as I said before, to allow us to do better what we already do best, to optimize these services. And what we strongly believe and what we see is that the only way forward, the easiest, but also the fastest and strongest way forward, is to create a horizontal layer that, for example, can be positioned on top of the different and the existing information silos, for example. Because the more silos are overlaid by a strong foundation on top of it, the stronger that foundation becomes as the new digital foundation, which is ubiquitous, fully connected, platform empowered and data enabled, and of course led by digital and other forms of intelligence. 1 vision, 2 guarantees, 3 processes to plan, build, and operate, driven by 2 gears of the same engine, 2 drivers, supported and carried by 1 digital foundation, which is 1 platform, a energy transition tower ring, if you like. The next slide, please. So where do we do that? Because it sounds a little bit, perhaps, I can imagine that you might think that this sounds a bit like going back to the future, which is not. What I talk about is not even at stake, but is in place. It is built with technology that is off the shelf, that's commercially available, that's mature, and that already builds our global footprint, for example. So where do we do that? We do that in different shapes, sizes, forms, different countries, different regions, and with different industry partners, but also with customers worldwide. A very good example is the one that you can find all of this on the web, of course, but if you would search on the web for Songshan Lake or Oxhorn campus, you will find a completely new campus, which is completely built with the previous in mind, and which runs on renewable energy, which has the ability for data and which has the ability for energy, just like data, to be stored. Energy storage before it gets distributed. Energy that is being generated and not being consumed, or that is needed for the evening, for example, when solar panels are of no use because the sun is down and bright light is off and the moon doesn't shine bright enough to create energy from solar panels, with solar panels. Energy storage. but also other forms of energy, hydro, and what have you, wind. What it does, it creates a campus-wide, if you like, secure, safe, and green zero-carbon campus for smart, intelligent, and comprehensive energy services and energy management. And this is where I think the power company also comes in. Often, the power company is being looked at as the ones to blame, as the ones who caused all of this, and we have to get rid of it as soon as we can. That's why we need new and renewable energy. I would say that would not be the way forward, in my view. I think there is a new role. So the energy and the power companies have a huge opportunity to reinvent themselves and to transform themselves in this energy transition journey towards an energy service provider. They become an energy management platform. They are taking in the different forms of energy that are being generated from anywhere, from anything, and from everywhere, and from everything. And they are able to incorporate that into a worldwide infrastructure that they already have for about the same age as the worldwide telephone networks have been there for years. They are about the same age. The copper wire cabled infrastructure of telephony has gone through a tremendous amount of change, from analog to digital to IP to a complete converged, full-fledged communications infrastructure with multimedia services and what have you. And the same age is another copper wire cable that also goes into the same houses at the same time almost as the telephony worldwide infrastructure. Same with computing networks that has gone through a tremendous amount of change. There is a copper wire infrastructure already worldwide available that is embarking on this same transformation journey, and where a zero carbon infrastructure can be provisioned with a smart, comprehensive set of energy services. So the power company has a role to play in all of this. They are not part of the problem. They are part of the solution, just like each and any one of us as well. Huawei, Songshan Lake, but not only there, more than 190 electric power companies worldwide have embarked with us on this road to digital transformation in different stages as they are now, different searches that they've done. 9 of the top 16 electric power companies, for example, more than 190 electric power companies work with us. More than 100,000 substations are part of this digital process. More than 100 power distribution rooms and 30 million smart meters already are part of this new way of thinking, this new foundation to embark on, which brings me to the next slide. The next slide where I set the global footprint. The slide after this one, please. The slide that starts with a strong partner ecosystem. The digital journey, also with energy transition, as physical as the industry still is not a one-on-one, a one-by-one, or a monopolist way forward. It truly is about ecosystems and eco-partners. Systems working together as one. This is a snapshot of the partners that we're working with. This is also a snapshot of the partners that are part of it already, of this integration of this digital journey. Next slide, please. Which is a huge thank you again for the time and for the availability that I've been given to share this with you. I will stay with you all the way to the end of the panel discussion. I will join the panel discussion, but I think I was able perhaps to set the stage and help you understand that what we are concerned about is digital transformation by means of energy transition to create carbon neutrality, a safer, a greener, and a more sustainable society for all of us. Because what's next? What's next is a better life. Thank you very much.
Edwin, no, thank you, and it's great you can join us.